Good evening. Let's go to our course Programming Data Structures and Algorithms using Python. Okay. Today we are going to solve the week 3 programming assignment which have been given. Let's go. Let's read the question first. Write 3 Python functions as specified below. Paste the text for all 3 functions together into the submission window. Your function will be called automatically with various inputs and should return values as specified. Do not write commands to read any input or print any output. You may define additionally auxiliary functions as needed. In all cases, you may assume the value passed your function. So these are the different conditions they have given. This is not important. Okay, write a function expanding L, sorry, that takes the input as a list of integer L and returns true if absolute difference between each adjacent pair of the elements is strictly increases. Okay, so what they've given here is basically an expanding function within which we are passing a list, or an, you can say we are passing an array. Now what we are doing here is basically we are checking the differences, right? So difference between what? Difference between the, suppose this one is the ith element, I is equal to 0, so we will check the difference with I plus 1. Writing our first function which is expanding L, right? So let's begin with it. Def expanding L. So what is L? L is the list we are passing, right? Now next let's find out the differences and store it in a list, right? Like how? See, we are going to use here list comprehension, which is, we could have used a for loop and done this, that. The same thing only we are going to write in a one statement, straightforward. Let's find the diffs. Diffs is equal to, let's say, for, no, okay, absolute of, suppose, L of I plus 1 minus L of I, okay, for I in range len of L minus 1. Why we are going till minus 1? Because if we don't go till minus 1, our loop will go out of range and we won't be able to find the value of I plus 1. You understand it, right? Suppose in case of this array, the iteration goes till 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So the len of the array is 5. So what do we do here? We run it till 4. Right? If we run it till 4, it goes till 3. So 3 plus 1 becomes 4. So I plus 1 is, we get the 9 value. Right? So this is what happens. What happens here in the diffs? In the diffs, the array, an array is formed, or a list is formed with the differences between the element and its next element. Right? So next, for I, suppose for item in, okay, let's for I in range, we can use I again. This is not C or Java, so we can use I again, right? uh, for I in range, suppose len of diffs, right? Right. Okay, again we are going to go minus 1. Why? Because again we have to check that if it is I is less than or equal to or greater than I plus 1, right? So for that reason we have to take I minus 1, because at the last iteration we are always going to check the next element is greater than or equal to, right? Okay, so next, now understand like what we have to check now. What are we doing here? See, 3 minus 1 2, 7 minus 3 4, 7 minus 2 5, 9 minus 2 9. So this is coming as true. Why? Because the next element is always in an increasing order, right? So at any point of time, can I say if suppose diffs of I is greater than or equal to diffs of I plus 1, then what we are doing, then straightforward we can say that return false. Done. Okay, now if false is not returned, what we can do, just come out of the loop and return, as easy as that. Expanding is done and it will surely work. As you can see, if I compile and run it, uh, yeah, so yeah, our test cases are passing. Ignore this slash n, it is just a presentation error, but our test cases are passing because our code is absolutely correct. Let's go to next part. Next part. Let's read the question what they have told. Write a Python function sum square L that takes a non-empty list of integers and returns a list odd or even, where odd is the sum of squares of all numbers in L and even is the sum of squares of all the even numbers in L. Here are some examples. Okay. So what we are doing here is basically we are taking a list of integers and now we have to find out the odd and even in the integer, right? So see, what are we going to do here is very simple. Like first, let's define the function. The function name is sum square. Okay, sum square or sum square, right? SUMSQUARE. Right. So we are passing the list L. Fine. This doesn't matter because the variables that they're inputting in the backend may be different. So this L and this L don't get confused that here also I used L. I can use here ARR also. Right? It doesn't matter. They have shown L, that's why I'm showing L. I can use ARR also. If I use ARR and do this, the answer will come out the same only. Right? So let's do it. So now let's find out what are the odd sum. See, sum of the odd numbers in ARR. Right? So how can we find it out? We have to first check whether the values in the ARR which we are going to about to find out are odd or not. So let's find out the sum of, suppose, the square. Okay, we also require the square. So square or sum of square for, let's take as x in ARR if for odd what should be our condition, x mod 2 is not equal to 0. This should be our condition. Done. For even, now for even, what do we need? Same, we have to do the sum, but this time also we are taking the square, but for x of what? For x in ARR if if x mod 2 is equal 0, right? This is what it is. Absolutely easy. What do you have to do? Simple. I'm using, again, it's a like comprehension. I'm writing the loop in one only. You could have written it in two, but that would have been much lengthier. You can't do it so easily, so why choose the tough one, right? So what we need to do, we need to return what? We need to return these two odd and even sums, right? So how would we return it? We just simply return a list. Okay, we just need to return a list odd comma even. Done. Very easy. Okay, next. Acha, let's check if our is correct or not. Let's compile and run and see what happens. Okay, we are facing a runtime error somewhere. uh, what is it? Okay, I'm so stupid. I've written the return statement out of the A only. Okay, anyway. Right. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so our test cases are passed after ignoring presentation error. It's just your case also it will show. Don't just ignore it. Okay, so the thing is what? Our test cases are passed for sum square. Okay, now the last one, transpose. See, what we have to do here is very simple. We have to take a 2D matrix and transpose, right? So how would we do it? Okay. So what we have to do here is transpose basically. So what does transpose mean? Transpose means uh, to convert rows into columns and columns into rows. Okay, I haven't read the question. A two-dimensional matrix can be presented in a Python row-wise as a list. Okay, sorry. Let's just clear it. Okay. So what is our question? A two-dimensional matrix can be represented in Python row-wise as a list of lists. Inner list represents one row of the matrix. For instance, the matrix is this. It will be represented as this, right? You know this if you are already into Python. So you must know this, how matrices are represented in Python. Anyway, So what is happening here? So what we are doing, see. Okay, so let's define the function first. Suppose it's in def, what was the function? Transpose, right? Transpose, right? So let's take our matrix as M. Now, what we have to return? We have to return the transpose of M. What is transpose? Transpose is converting rows into columns and columns into row. There's a very easy method in converting this M into its transpose form. We can just you unpack it. So what happens? It then pairs up the elements of the at the same index from each row. We are going to run a loop for it and then convert it into the columns, right? How are we going to do it? See, return very easy. Return list of, we're converting the row into list for rows in zip star m, right? The star operator basically unpacks the our matrix or the list we are providing, and the zip then pairs up the elements with the rows for at the same index from each row, right? See, now if we compile and run, our test case have all been passed. Now let's submit. Answers were successfully submitted. Thank you so much for watching this, and do like, share and subscribe this video if you want more of such contents. And I'm also going to start something new, something like teaching a few more topics. If you are interested, definitely you can check out my channel. You can also go down into my LinkedIn and see my progress and track down my academic records, and I am also providing the link to my website. uh, and you can also connect me with me on LinkedIn, and if you want to do a project together or anything else, any discussion or any opportunity, you may contact with me. I'm so glad you saw this video. Thank you. Bye.